Okay, obviously everybody is talking about the firing, or, well, not the firing, but the banning of Alex Jones and the Alex Jones Show and InfoWars from Apple, Spotify, as well as YouTube. So I was at work most of the day. Then I got home, had to mow the lawn, had to do a lot of things. This was, without a doubt, the central topic the entire day on every single thing I was listening to, except, of course, for main terrestrial radio, which, understandably, a coward like Michael Medved is not even going to address it. That's a person who's on the radio when I'm driving home. So sometimes I'll just listen to, college radio or something. I didn't hear anything from him. Then again, I'm not going to watch an entire show of him pretending to preach morality to the entire world. Mr. Neocon there from Seattle. So I was pretty breathtaken by a lot of the reactions to Jones. Of course, Brandon Tatum, I think, was the one that really caught my eye because he kind of said, I was a little surprised. He said that he watches Alex Jones every day and loves the show. I personally, I would say I like the show. I like watching it sometimes, not very often, because they don't always address the topics that I'm interested in. But they do have, once in a while, very interesting interviews. Of course, there's the comedy effect, especially that hilarious clip where Jones freaked out and started cursing Donald Trump after they bombed Syria a couple months ago. That was, it was a little comic relief in the heat of probably one of the more frustrating events of the past couple years, because I was against the war just like Alex Jones was. I'm not sure I was against the war for the same reasons as he was, but this was pretty funny. So in any case, there were a lot of people who stood out and claimed, even on the left, and I was, many people were predicting once this would happen, which it was going to happen at a certain point, and Alex Jones had been claiming it for many years, the left would pretty much just dance over his grave and say that, oh, good riddance, he's just a clown, he doesn't even deserve to have a platform at all, he's a Nazi or something. Now, there were a lot of people on the left that did say that, but there were a number of people on the left that explicitly rejected it. The Humanist Report with Mike Figueredo, actually, I saw him on Twitter, was saying, no, I mean, I despise him, but, this could also mean the end of us as independent creators. Jamarl Thomas, who I watch pretty regularly. I don't remember if I saw Tim Black. I might have. No, I don't think I saw him, but I'll check if he said anything, because he's had some censorship issues as well. And the most noticeable person, the most important one, would be Kyle Kulinski. And those of you that watch TYT are probably a little more familiar with him than me. I don't really... I know, for example, that he's kind of the brains at TYT, although that's not exactly a difficult proposition when you have mental midgets like Anna Kasparian and, Cenk Uyghur's Buffalo nephew on it. What's the guy's name? Hassan Piker, who's, they basically have him grazing out in a field somewhere until production starts. And then they have to go kind of cajole him back into the office suites with a cattle prod. It's much easier with Cenk himself, who's kind of been housebroken since he started at the Young Turks. In any case, Kyle Kulinski is much more intelligent than any of those morons, because he kind of has this, I think he does have a bit of strategic thinking about him, regardless of his ideas. I don't really know necessarily where he falls on every issue, but of course he belongs to a progressive network, considers himself a progressive. I just saw an interview with him on Fox News where he did present at least a formidable face against one of the other Fox News contributors, a Republican. So let's hear what he has to say about Alex Jones.
So here I am, ready to do the show, kind of excited for today's show because we had a bunch of great stories to cover, I don't know why I'm talking in the past tense. And a vital laptop for the show that has all the clips that are going to be needed for today's show crapped out. So this has happened before, no big deal. Obviously had to go to get it fixed. You know, I try to put a rush on it, let the person know, hey, I'll pay extra if we get this done today. Long story short, looks like we are going to get it done today, so the show will be happening later today. Yes, I do look like a cop right now. Jimmy Dore would be very, very saddened by my attire at the moment with my cop glasses. So we are going to do the show later today. Should be a great show, but obviously this was a pain in the ass and this was unexpected. The first segment I was going to do was the breakdown of my Fox appearance. That's still going to be the first segment I do in the show.
Blah, 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 get to the point.
Interview is the thing I want to pontificate more about. We'll do that. But figured I'd shoot a little video now. I'm at a red light and people next to me are going to look at me like I'm fucking crazy talking to myself. Let's try to make it look a little less awkward here. Move the camera down. But one thing I wanted to talk about, this wasn't scheduled for today's show, but I just saw it this morning, and I figured I'll do a separate video on this right now, is that I think it was Apple, iTunes, they decided to pull Alex Jones' show, and then Facebook decided to pull some of Alex Jones' shows, and then I think Spotify didn't pull his entire show, but they pulled certain episodes.
So yeah, I think it wasn't that Facebook canceled some of his videos there. They got rid of his entire pages. Okay, do you realize how many years back Alex Jones... By the way, Alex Jones is a pioneer in alternative media. Say what you want about his opinions and about his crazy rantings and stuff like that, and about him, you know, selling those weird dick pills, this super male vitality. He's a pioneer in alternative media. So, yes, by erasing all those things, they've pretty much wiped out an entire lifetime of work for him, which I believe he probably has backup, you know, hard drives and stuff like that. But let's keep hearing this.
And there's a little bit of contradictory information on that. I've seen like a few different headlines. Some of them saying that Alex Jones' entire show was pulled from Apple. Some of them saying that it was only some of them. Again, I think Spotify only pulled some of his shows. But I'm a little So here I am saying that it was only some of them. Again, I think Spotify only pulled some of his shows, but I'm a little disheartened by the reaction to this. I see a lot of, you know, not so subtle celebrations over this fact, and I don't think it's something to celebrate. Now, listen, put my record up against anybody else's record when it comes to calling out Alex Jones bullshit. I mean, I honestly think I'm #1 in that category. I am the Tiger Woods. I'm the Michael Jordan of calling out Alex Jones bullshit. I make a habit of doing it. I do it at least once a week. And again, that's bare minimum. So I'm second to nobody in fact-checking that motherfucker, and I'm second to nobody in calling him out when he spews.
So essentially what he's saying is that he really needs Alex Jones around in order to provide him content. So there might be a little bit of a selfish motive here.
Doing his conspiracy theories and, you know, peddling to the far right. So I'm pretty much as anti-Alex Jones as humanly possible. But having said that, this is a matter of principle. Now, I get it. It's not that, you know, this is a literal First Amendment issue, because Alex Jones is not having his speech suppressed by the government. So this isn't a literal First Amendment issue. However, this is the principle of the First Amendment. Even though these are private corporations and they get to determine who does and doesn't come on their website, I think that this is the principle of the First Amendment is at play here. And this is a terrible precedent. So if you pull Alex Jones down, and they give specific reasons, okay, it's not because he does fake news. Fake news is technically permissible. This is.
They might give specific reasons, but they don't give specific instances. So, yes, they can pull down his show, but the fact is, YouTube, for example, they don't necessarily have a public obligation to state which video Alex Jones got banned over. But yes, they can give a reason, and we can believe that reason or not. But there have already been several channels that were removed from YouTube in the past over total bullshit. Sargon of Akkad, I think in March, had his channel removed from YouTube for a couple days, I think it was. Who else? There was... And then there's the random demonetizations and things like that. So they'll demonetize people at the drop of a hat. Dave Rubin, for example. There are a lot of people who are facing demonetization and whatever. Of course, what they'll always do is they'll try to keep the main performers in check. So you'll have these hit piece campaigns conducted against PewDiePie, whose channel I don't really watch. So, it's a lot of gaming stuff, which I'm not really well versed in at all. But they'll try to keep them in check, so they write hit pieces about PewDiePie being a Nazi, as if that really serves any purpose. This is the type of stuff that Kyle Kulinski should have been talking about a while back. It's good that he's talking about Alex Jones at the moment, but this is really something that's been happening much more frequently, and he's really only talking about the more superficial aspects of it. But I think you still have to give him credit. Maybe it was at the spur of the moment too. You still have to give him credit for the fact that he came out and, at least gave lip service to the idea of free speech here.
This is what they say. They say, oh, it's because of specific segments, doing hate speech. And, there was a segment recently where he threatened Robert Mueller and did this weird simulating shooting him online. Now, is that incitement? Maybe. I mean, it's borderline. Don't get me wrong. There are definitely segments he's done. We called out doofus B-team boy Harrison when he did that segment. And he was calling Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Bernie Sanders parasites and talking about how they're leeches and they need to be...
Wait. I want to understand something. Those are epithets. How can you debunk an epithet? If I want to call you a fucking retard... Okay, what are you going to do? You're going to call that some sort of, I'm going to fact check you on that? I mean, retard is just an insult. It's an epithet. Well, what if I call you an ass-licking moron? It's ridiculous that he has the need. Look, just make your fucking point and move on. And then he has to go through the whole spiel. This is the thing with the left, that they want to... Look, Alex Jones, when people... Look, I did a segment on Jimmy Dore last week where I said I think it's a good career move to a certain extent for him to guest host on RT. It really is a good look for him. I think he did a good job. And that's it. And I literally don't agree with him on anything. So what the fuck is the issue here? Nobody cares whether you disagree that Bernie Sanders and Ocasio-Cortez are parasites. I can call you, I can call you a fucking hipster douchebag too. What, are you going to fact check me on that too? I mean, this is outrageous. This is like the most reluctant defense you'll ever see.
Eradicated. So don't get me wrong. There's been a bunch of stuff that's like borderline incitement. But in my mind, you need to basically say anything goes except the clear cases of it. Now, I'm not saying Alex Jones isn't an odious force in this world. In fact, I think he is, which is why I call him out all the time. But to take down his show from these prominent outlets, I mean, that is a terrible precedent, because what now? What now? Oh, Alex Jones, he's a fringe conspiracy theorist. We really gotta pull down his show. Okay, well, what about, hey, Kyle Kulinski and Jimmy Dore, I mean, these guys, they've really been pushing back against Russiagate, and it sure looks like 17 intelligence agencies, as the talking point goes, which is bullshit because that includes like the Coast Guard, and they did the old Dick Cheney trick of go to anybody at that agency and get them to tell you what you want to hear, and then say, the entire agency said. So, you know, I push back on Russiagate, Jimmy Dore pushes back on Russiagate. You know, you think that somebody with my position on the DNC email hacks, how it was good that we saw it no matter who the source was, even if Russia was the one.
So I want to welcome, first of all, 2 new viewers. Third Eye Philosophy, who I think I've emailed with, who has his own channel. You should watch it. Glenn McCarthy's also here, and so is Mad Dodge. I don't think I'm gonna watch this entire video till the end. Vincere out More, also thank you. Look, finally Kulinski gets to the point, which is that there's only a few actual news outlets that are really willing to go out there and present the skeptic view towards these intelligence agencies that have repeatedly gotten us into all sorts of messes. You know, they got us into a number of Middle Eastern conflicts, including Iraq, Libya, Syria. Need I say more? And Vincere Amore is giving like a lot of advice about what the real rules should be. But let's face it, these companies are not going to relinquish our data. I don't think iTunes, for example, is as much of a threat in terms of the data, but I don't know as much about iTunes. Sweet Speak says, are you talking about me? I'm not sure who mentioned you. But welcome. I haven't seen him for a while. Next Radio is here. Look, the issue here is very simple. And many people have restated it. There's this idea now that you can focus in on a news outlet, when InfoWars is an excellent example, and just say they are a toxic source of misinformation or hate speech or whatever, and they must be done away with. And they'll do it first with InfoWars. And by the way, think of all the conspiracy theorists that don't just appear on right-wing networks. Well, who remembers Cynthia McKinney? She appears all the time on networks like The Real News, and also I think she appears on Jamarl Thomas's show and a number of other shows. She is a conspiracy theorist. I mean, I don't agree with virtually all of her philosophy, but I've never called for Cynthia McKinney to be kicked off of YouTube or any other outlet or any blog or whatever. And she's said a lot of like really fucked up things too. A lot of things concerning the Middle East, especially about, she's one of those 9/11 truthers that really goes off the deep end, even beyond things that I typically see. And yet she has the right to say it, and I don't know her, and I'm not going to impugn her character like Kyle Kulinski does about Alex Jones. I mean, she has the perfect right to say whatever the hell she wants. I just think a lot of it is kind of ridiculous, but I'm open to hearing it. And I think Kulinski is really seeing I don't think he's seeing the light yet, but he's beginning to understand the danger that this very weapon could be turned against him. Len McCarthy says Zionist reptilian conspiracy. I think Cynthia McKinney does say something about, I don't know if it's reptilians, but it's really not that far. I could be wrong, okay? And I think that's why you do have to be careful if you're commenting on the news, because somebody will call you out for saying things that you got wrong. So I could be wrong about Cynthia McKinney. I don't think I am, but I could be. But I still think that she has the right to have a platform. And Kulinski is essentially, this is what I wanted to say. Because really, I think that, yes, it's all well and good to thank him for saying this. But what's really more important is the strategy going forward from this. What's really going to happen for this. Because there's a lot of people at TYT who are mortal enemies of Alex Jones. Remember, he crashed their party at the Republican convention in 2016, and ended up triggering an altercation, and triggering is really the word, between himself and Cenk Uygur and Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore ended up spitting on him, and there was the famous just this diatribe that Anna Kasparian was yelling at him, calling him a fat motherfucker or something. Well, let's pull it up. Let me see here. So, Anna Kasparian, Alex Jones. So, let me see if it's here.
What, Saudi Arabia more funny than that? Hey, first of all, hold on. We're against Saudi Arabia, you dumbass! We talk about that all the time!
Look at Cenk pretending he wants to throw down. I mean, if he would have punched Alex Jones there, his career would have been over. So, I mean, he pretty much saved his own ass there.
We talk about that all the time! You don't know shit! Lizard people are in charge. Is that what you think? You're pissed. Is that what you think? You're anti-liberal and you're pissed. Bullshit. We're being nice here. You know what I care about? I care about the American people. Good. You're the one flipping out.
Get off the stage, you fat fuck. Get off.
I want to piss him.
Yeah, you do. You do.
Saudi Arabia for money with that? We're against Saudi Arabia, you dumbass. We talk about that all the time. We talk about that all the time. You don't know shit. What do you think? The lizard people are in charge? Is that what you think? Now you're pissed. Is that what you think? You're the anti-liberal and you're pissed. Bullshit. We're being nice here.
You just want attention.
What the fuck? What a fucking cowardly little bitch. Yeah, get the fuck out. I'm right here. Did you spit in his face? I'm right here. Did you spit in his face? I'm right here. Did you spit in his face? So I'm asking you, did you spit in his face?
Yeah, the other insect creature, Jimmy Dore, motherfucker, spit in his face. That's the face of the and Kalinsky. Now, imagine this, okay? Imagine, yeah, this is Mr. Alex Jones there, and you know, like I said, I don't watch his show very often, and I'm, you know, I don't have any problem with people that do. It just isn't always very interesting to me. You know, there's certain things that are interesting. There's certain things that are really ridiculous. I mean, I'm not gonna pretend that the guy's like great at everything he does, but a lot of the things he does, he's really good at, because he really can get into these people's head, and that's a quality that you have to admire. And in that clip, he really did get into their heads. And what are they supposed to do now? Kyle Kalinsky, who is literally the brain trust of TYT, if they even have one, has come out and said, oh, you know, it's unfair what they did to him, and he's a piece of crap, but you should keep him on YouTube, because I'm afraid you're going to take me down too. Well, now what's the rest of TYT supposed to do? The Humanist Report is also affiliated with TYT, and he's already taking shit for that. Maybe we can pull that up. If I can find that. Pull up Twitter here. Let's see here. The Humanist. Let me see. Report. What the fuck? The Humanist Report. Yeah, this is the one. So that guy, he's also well known. He is a YouTube personality. So he says, I'm just going to go out on a limb here and guess that the average Alex Jones viewer probably isn't interested in the content I produce, which is good because I wouldn't want to attract that level of stupid. And that's in response to this guy, Large Marxists, saying, I generally think you're trying to use free speech absolutism and net neutrality to get some of Jones's audience to start watching your show, and it's really disgusting. So then he's calling out. This is a guy who, say what you want about Humanist Report, he does attack a lot of liberal politicians. So Chris Murphy, who's I think he's Connecticut senator, says, InfoWars is the tip of a giant iceberg of hate and lies that uses sites like Facebook and YouTube to tear our nation apart. These companies must do more to take down than take down one website. The survival of our democracy depends on it. And the Humanist Report says, and this is what I was worried about. I theoretically shouldn't have to be worried about this, but that's not the world we live in. And it's a very, it's a very telling situation when you have somebody like Humanist Report, somebody like Kyle Kulinski also defending Alex Jones. Maury says it is easy to support the free speech of people that we agree with, but we must protect all speech, or soon the censorship will be turned against us as well. Larry Gerke, hello. Thanks for coming again. Always good to have you. And Metadata Man, I don't know if I mentioned you. High Desert Pioneer. Thanks, by the way, for the large audience. We are not going to keep this going much longer. I'm going to try to do a little something tonight, but it is a little late besides this, so it's not a good situation. I do believe that we will find something else, some other way to do this, to continue to share content, content including Alex Jones's, but who wants to grow on this medium if this is what happens anyway? I'm saying there's a lot of people. Mad Dodge Productions has done a lot of work to grow his platform. Who's another person on here? Arjun, by the way, hi. How you doing? Who's another guy? Lennon McCarthy's done a lot of work. A lot of people have put in a lot of effort. A Swede Speaks has a channel. Who else is here? Third Eye Philosophies also. Do you guys feel better about working on developing a channel now? Because I don't feel better about it. Because this is the price of success. You get cut down from the root. Do you feel any better about that? I'm seriously asking. You have people, Larry Gerke. If you would talk to Lionel Nation, which you don't anymore, do you think he feels better about this? This is really like this is the idea of this mass media 1984 style society finally coming together. It's ridiculous. But I do believe, I have faith personally that we're going to find somewhere else to do this. And I am on BitChute, by the way. But more people have to start finding those places. And more people will find those places. But the problem is, you do have these tech platforms that are already way too big, and they're too big to fail. What would have to happen, and this is one of the few regulations that I've never really opposed, is you have to invoke the Sherman Antitrust Act. And what that would do is you would probably break up a number of these conglomerates. That would include, of course, Alphabet, which owns Google and Facebook. It would also break up probably Amazon in the end. Your hair looks nice. No, you're supposed to say no homo, but thank you. No gay. What are you, like from Sicily or something? No gay. Vincent Amore says, first they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the okay, so I've heard that cliche anymore. I understand it, but what I'm trying to say here is that we do have the means to fight this. Okay, what you have to do is essentially call your congressman. And in my case, I can't call my congresswoman because she's pretty much a shill for the Democrats. But if you live in a place where you can call your congressman and your senator, you tell them to invoke call on the I think it's the Federal Trade Commission to invoke the what do you call it, the Sherman Antitrust Act against these organizations, and they'll fall apart like fucking bowling pins. There's nothing that big tech would be more scared of than the invocation of that law. Third Eye Philosophy, follow his channel. I don't know what Holonis is. Is that some sort of is that your screen name or something? But that's it. I'll talk to you guys later. That's not a good thing going on. But Kulinski came out. You do have to give him credit, and we already have. So other than that, fuck him. He's an idiot. He's the the first among equals, and they're all equally dumb. And then the Humanist Report, who I actually used to watch his show pretty frequently, thanks to him too, who is, you know, by the way, his show is pretty interesting sometimes. And Jamal Thomas as well also came out against it. Good credit to him, even though we disagree a lot. I'll see you guys later. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also share the video and comment when it uploads.